My best friend, Dan, 30, male, got married to Lauren, 27, female, yesterday. Me and Dan have been best friends since high school and, despite always being platonic with no romantic interests on either side, his now wife, Lauren, has always disliked me. In their 3 years of dating, I have not been allowed to see Dan alone because she feels that it's suspicious that I want to hang out with him. Honestly, I just missed my friend. Despite me being happily married, she's always kept me at arm's length. I always figured this was because she's from a very conservative family. Dan has spoken to her multiple times, and after she'll back off for a bit before reverting to complaining about him being friends with a girl again. It's not ideal, but she makes Dan happy, so I made my peace with it. That brings us to the wedding. Originally, I was going to be in the groom's party, but Lauren ended up crying, saying a wedding is not a place to swap gender roles. Dan was fighting her on this, but I told him I'll just attend as a guest, and not to choose this hill to die on. The dress code was warm-tone garden party, and we were encouraged to wear earthy warm colors. I picked out a bronze/orange dress that I thought fit this perfectly, and the style even matched some examples they gave. In short, I thought I had nailed it. The wedding went great. However, at the reception, Lauren dragged me aside and said, "I cannot believe you would wear gold to my wedding. You're not the first prize, you're just fucking trashy." I was so shocked in the moment, I just stared at her. She practically screamed at me to leave, and she was drawing attention, so I grabbed my husband, said goodbye to Dan, and left. Dan reached out after and told me he was upset I left his wedding so soon. Lauren's mom has texted me, saying I ruined the wedding for her daughter, and I'm stupid for wearing a gold dress, saying it's as bad as wearing white. I was genuinely not aware this was a thing. I want to reach out to Dan to explain, but I don't know if I'm in the wrong here. Am I the asshole? Relevant comments. Any chance you or Dan have a crush on each other? I am happily married, and me and Dan would rather eat glass than have anything romantic happen between us. We are just not each other's type and see each other as siblings. I genuinely don't think Dan has ever secretly liked me either. In response to a deleted comment, most likely comparing Lauren and original poster, that's hard to answer. We are two totally different people. I think we are both attractive in our own way. I am your Barbie stereotype 5'11", blonde hair with a six-pack. She's a petite brunette bombshell with a beautiful tan and a full figure. I'm also a good 2 inches taller than Dan, hence he's not my type. I'm not his. So it's comparing apples and oranges. But I do get your point. Is she uncomfortable with just you? Not just me, but any woman. She doesn't believe in platonic friendships with the opposite sex. Why does Lauren's mom have your number? Can't you just forward that message to Dan? My guess is the group chat from the hen's party. Lauren didn't have bridesmaids and her mom organized the hen's night with a group text chat. Honestly, my husband told me they were acting crazy. I just needed an outside opinion before I called Dan, so hubby said I should post here. How were you going to be a part of the groom's party if she didn't have any bridesmaids? She technically had her mom as a maid of honor figure, I guess. She stood up there with her and organized the hen's party. But they were just going to go with unequal numbers, and in the end, he just had his brother there with him. Update. Wow, guys, I genuinely didn't know what to expect posting to strangers on this, but I am so thankful to my husband for suggesting this. I needed a non-biased view on this wearing gold to a wedding issue, and now it's clear that that was never the issue. Many of you asked if the dress I wore stood out, and honestly, I know I'm biased saying this, but I genuinely don't think so. Another girl was wearing the exact same dress, but in a dark red, which we had a laugh about. Slip dresses are a pretty common wedding guest dress where I am, and it was the type of dress that was recommended by the bride. I think many of you were right in saying that it was never about the dress, but how I looked wearing it. I do want to start this update by thanking my husband who suggested I post here, and been having a ball reading your comments since posting, and even posting a photo of us this morning with a caption along the lines of "my gold prize of a wife. I am winning in life thanks to you." Turns out Dan found out pretty quickly what actually happened and called me last night. Apparently, Lauren's mom had told him I was really drunk and told Lauren her dress wasn't it. So I was requested to leave. Dan had his suspicions that it was bullsh /T, but it wasn't until his mom calling him that confirmed it. Turns out she was nearby when Lauren pulled me aside and ironically was actually wearing a yellow gold dress and tore him a new one about letting Lauren treat me like that. Dan didn't have a solution when he called. I could tell he was emotionally exhausted and pretty defeated. He said he wished I had taken it out on the open bar rather than leaving, but he understood why I left. He thanked me for taking the high road and that it hasn't gone unnoticed. He apologized for what happened. Apparently, this is an ongoing fight between him and Lauren. For all of those who said Lauren just hates me, turns out it's 100% true. Apparently, she has been trying to convince Dan to cut me off, because that's what a good husband does. He said he thought she had gotten over it now that they were married. I told him that he needs to focus on his happiness, and that I will always be here to support him and that I will take a step back if that's what he needs. They were supposed to leave for their honeymoon yesterday, but when Dan called they were still at home, so who knows? I've blocked Lauren and her mum and forwarded the messages to Dan as recommended. Thanks again, everyone, for your comments and judgment. Woman banned from seeing Best Man Alone. Wedding drama erupts. Gold dress at wedding ignites firestorm of family conflict. Banned from the groom's party. Wedding policies spark outcry.